Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. How are you guys this morning? A little light. I think that today might be a boring day. Well, no, it won't be a boring day. It'll just be, well, let me lay it out for you here. So we got news. We get building permits and housing starts in 10 minutes. Those aren't huge numbers, although building permits and housing starts are important numbers given the inverted yield curve. Probably not like as big of a deal this month as they will be next month, but we'll see. And we're expecting a reading of 1.27 million for the permits and 1.26 million for the housing starts. But then after that, we don't get consumer sentiment and inflation expectations, which is going to be a pretty important number to see if this volatility over the past month. There's the open, by the way. A little bit of a push down. We are in a downtrend. I think you can probably sell that. But I digress. Anyways. So, other than that, it's Friday, and Friday always tends to be a little tricky. So, probably going to be a little bit more cautious. Oh, what happened here? My profit and loss thing is like smaller. There we go. There we go. Anyways, that's what we got going on. Well, in the meantime, I think we could just kind of screw around. I'm thinking, I've been thinking I want to do something. I want to do something cool here. Let me make this big. I think that we should add something. We could add like a marquee scroll, I think. Let's see if I can figure it out in OBS here. Well, it's going. It's probably going to like move down a ton. I'm going to be like, oh, why didn't I sell it? No. Why are you doing that? Made a new scene, not a... want this. Want scenes. No, sources. There we go. Add. Text. There we go. There we go. Now does it do... Can I get it to do the marquee scroll? Now I have to research. Oh. Oh, okay. There's a filter that we add to it. Okay, well, we should have this read from a file, and we will make a new file here. Hasn't quite moved down. news.text. Okay. Cool. And then we'll put this down in here. Background. Make the background opacity. There we go. No, that's not bad. It's 2560. Cool. And the height, what I think the height of your taskbar is like 64 or something like that. There you go. We don't even need it to be quite that high. We could be like 50 maybe. Cool. But we could even do something like, well, we'll mess with it a little bit more in a sec. Filters. Effect filters. Scroll. How about that? Huh? 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 That's not bad. Now we can kind of mess with it a little bit. Okay, so first thing I'm noticing is that I've made everything lowercase. We gotta fix that. Text transformation, none. Vertical alignment centered. Awesome. So then I could make like some thing down here or something that says like news and like, how could we do this? Let's just add another one. Like I'll do like copy. News bit. And I'll just change this to just say news. Okay. No, it's not big enough. 128. There we go. Okay. And on this one, we gotta get rid of the filter. Oh, that's funny. This one. This one, we could do something different, though. We could, like... Okay. How do I give it... Oh, let's see what I can add. I could add... I'd have to mess... I'd have to understand that a little bit more to try and mess with that. Cool. So they moved back up there. Did they give a signal? They're giving a signal right now. Oh, what was the news? What were the housing numbers? I didn't even notice them pull for it. So housing starts 1.19 million, so not good. What about building permits? 1.34 versus 1.27. That's good. Kind of interesting. So maybe they're going to start to do a bit more, but it's uncertain. I'm not quite sure how to read that, to be honest. Okay. Sure. That should work for now. And then we can go through and we can look at stuff like, okay. Add a little news story here. Let's see what it'll do if I add a second line to it. Oh, interesting. No, I would like it to just... Do I need it to just be all one line? Yes, that's right, folks. Donald Trump is reportedly considering buying Greenland. Can you freaking believe we bought Greenland? That would be interesting. You know what? I totally support it. Totally down. I am totally down with the buying of Greenland. I think it would be fun, if anything. Okay, so here's one right here. Interesting. I kind of want to put this on a separate line just to... Let's see if I come back in here and mess with things. Oh, I didn't save it. Okay. Now it's all janky. So I'm wondering, in the properties here, is there something that would do something like alignment? What happens if you say rep? What does chat log mode do? Okay. So only display one at a time? Yes. Or will it only show the most recent line? Now they're ticking down. Oh, but we can do it like the most recent 6. Man, they're really moving down now. There was news here that China and the United States are talking. Swissa says, what money should they use to buy it? The USA is broke. Should the taxpayers pay for the elite to earn even more money? Well, that's a good question. And I really don't know how something like that would even work. But my understanding is that Denmark is more broke than the United States. So, but I'm not sure. Well, there are certainly a lot of natural resources in Greenland that would be useful to the United States for sure. And maybe that's why they want it. But Greenland also has strategic significance. Like the United States has an Air Force base there and things like that. So I don't know if it's entirely economic. But, I don't know. Should the taxpayers pay more for it? Yeah, probably. I mean, the thing is if do you think that the taxpayers got a bad deal on Alaska? Probably you make more money on it. Don't you think? I could be wrong about that. I don't really know what I'm talking about, but so if I change this chat log to be like the last 3 messages, but then then I get this thing right here. And alignment is like, so that doesn't work. And then if I come into the filters, maybe, what does that give me? That just allows me to change. See, that doesn't fix it either. So you wish it would just show me the next one immediately. You know what I mean? Hmm. Mm-mm. Oh, okay. So they say the trick is to ignore the custom text width option in the text source. So they're saying get rid of this. Oh, yeah. Hmm. Okay, that actually did improve things a little bit. Let's see, what's Swiss say? In 1946, U.S. President Harry Truman attempted to acquire Greenland from Denmark. Yes, I heard that for $100 million, but his offer was rejected. Here's the thing that's silly, that's funny about it is like, what would be the price tag on Greenland now? It's going to be a heck of a lot more than 100 million. I can tell you that much, right? Okay, so I got rid of the that and reading and then I think that I have to go in here and do filters and for the marquee say limit height 50 or something like that. 45 maybe. No. Limit width to be 2560. Don't limit the height. Uh, no. That limit width thing definitely helps. Well, I had a good tick down and now it's reversing. It's actually still giving me stuff. And it's actually telling me that I could potentially sell it at 26. But I don't know if that's really great. Well, the E-mini does look good today. I don't know. I'm just a little bit skeptical of this for some reason. So what if I say 0 here? Wrap. Oh. Why does a wrap? What does a wrap do? Well, that doesn't quite do what we want, but hmm. 2 ticks down. Let's see if it goes. You're limiting the length of the string. There should be possible expansion of the U.S. military presence in Arctic. The idea of Trump's could also be connected with Russia's ambitions in the Arctic. Yeah. It's really interesting story, isn't it? I think it is, at least. Good morning, IQ. I got it to word to ramp at one point, didn't I? So this ramp property doesn't seem to do anything. The chat log mode did seem to do something. That would just only show me the last line right there. Do 3. If I made this height bigger, you'd probably be able to see that it's doing all of them. Maybe. Cool. Hmm. Ah, it did go. See, I don't think that my risk is very good in this spot. I probably should have taken the one at 26. But I kind of said to myself that I wanted to distract myself, so I don't know. So if everything's just in one line, then it's a different thing, right? Aha. Look at that big old order at 23.5 now. Or 24. 6K? They're gonna buy here? They're potentially showing a buy here. This is getting interesting. I don't think chat log mode is what we want. Hey, good morning, Ace. Use custom text extents for the size of the source as well as if the text should wrap if the width is exceeded. So if I set this to be 100, let's change this back so that it's like 3 lines. And I say that the width is only 100. Then it wraps it around to the next line. So that doesn't really help me, does it? This should be like that. But then you're taking a short. Thank goodness it's Friday, right? I'm a little concerned. I should have been taking these. I should have taken it short, and I would be doing okay. But I'm a little weary about Friday, especially with the consumer sentiment number on deck. So that's why I'm kind of like, just kind of chilling here. So if I limit the width to be like 200 here, or maybe 600, sure. No. Now, So they kind of came, let's just reset it. They came really close to breaking the low, but they didn't. They're stepping back from it now. And that size at 24 has gotten bigger. It's now 7,000. Hmm. Well, that's interesting. It says cancel that. The energy is up. Now I'm a little bit more with you, but I'm not sure. We're above yesterday's high for sure. Treasuries seem to be pulling back though, so I'm just kind of wait here. I think. Oh, you can use SNAS to make multiple lines in non-scrollable. Hold on. Switch lines every 5 seconds? Oh. What does Jake say? I'm sorry, I was looking away here for a second. Can we explain what we're looking at again? Where does the price show on that market depth? Okay, I see now. So the gray column is the price. Um, it might be a little confusing on these ones because I'm cutting it off. That's actually 130 and 22 half. That's the price. Blue column is the bid, red column is the offer, and the middle column are the market orders. Yeah? So let's try this. Okay. Whoa, 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 wait, what the heck if I go like 100? It mirrors it? Oh, that's interesting. There we go. So if I go in here, just add some tabs in there. Because I only need one tab. One tab seems to be enough. Cool. I think that they might have to move up a little bit. Let's get rid of this Bitcoin thing. There was a down move. He's probably wondering. He did get his short. I'm just reading you guys' comments here. I'm still trying to figure out, like, the way that I have it with my thing right now is like it's all on one big long line. I would really like to be able to um, have multiple lines and have it only show me like the last 6 or something like that. But doesn't seem to work that way. Nothing like that URL. Good morning, Rolo Tape. Welcome back. They gonna get back to that 24? They gonna go through it? This is gonna be really interesting, folks. Because we haven't seen an order that big in several weeks. And it just kind of showed up when we came down, and now they're coming back to it. This is where the Vista chart is useful, because you can see it showed up as we went through it. And you can see that it's been up above us for a long time. It's a big order. It's been there all morning, apparently. No, actually, it's been there since we came down through 30. Last time that they tried to come up through it, it pulled. And then it showed back up when they came down. Okay. Ask is doing some weird stuff here. E-mini is getting sold again. It's really going. I don't see any news hitting. The E-mini certainly seems to be... Well, Algo says have a good weekend. The E-mini just is really ticking around. The 10-year has certainly getting excited, and there's an iceberg ahead of that big order at 23.5. IQ asks, do you trade the E-mini? I've taken a few trades in the E-mini. I would say I'm trying to get something to work there, and I thought that I actually had a solution, but doesn't seem to be working. So I don't know. I would like to trade it more. And Ace does give us some good trades, but I can't necessarily just take the ones that he gets right. Like, he has the ability to come in and like, okay, it's short, it's going down, okay, it's not working, get out and take the profit. And I just can't see that right now. So doesn't quite work as well for me. I mean, it's definitely showing me a buy here. No, I don't know. I don't know. I think in ZB it's saying that they're going to buy it up again. But with this order and all the context, I think normally I would be trying to sell ahead of it. But I mean, that order's been around a lot and it's been doing funky things. I don't really trust it. When will Bitcoin finally dump below 9K? I don't know. I'm the chart. Where is it? Just the cumulative delta going long in the futures and the way that the chart is and everything like that makes me think that we're going to have a little bit of pullback / sideways action for a while. So, okay. And then they move down without ever hitting into 24. I don't think they ever hit 24, did they? No, they did not. They didn't get through the iceberg. It's still ticking a lot, though. The E-mini possibly turned there. That might be why they did it. Israel allows Talib entry after promise not to promote BDS. Talib now refuses to take yes for an answer even though she offered the terms in the first place. What? So let me see if I'm understanding this right. She said, hey, I would really like to come into nice newsfeed ad. Do we get are you talking about the little scroll thing that I added to the bottom today? Because I don't know, it doesn't quite work the way that I wanted it to. Anyways, yeah, it's pretty cool. So last stream I saw a lizard who needed CPR. Wait, what? Jay Constant says, okay, thanks. Yeah, I mean, just keep in mind, Jay Constant, that reading short-term action in Bitcoin is incredibly difficult. And the only thing that I can really say with confidence is that Bitcoin is overbought, you know? And what happens next week or this next month is just kind of spitballing, you know? Anyways. Yeah, so the problem I'm having with the scrolling text, although it works correctly and everything, is that, well, so for starters, I need to add a tab at the end here. But I have to put it all on one big gigantic line, which makes it really hard to edit. I wish I could put them on multiple lines and then it would just append them to each other in a scroll, you know? I think that would be a lot better. Oh my gosh, yes. Did you guys hear this other thing? That apparently Epstein, while he was in prison, spent time alone with a underage girl. So the conspiracy theorist people are saying that the deep state basically gave him, you know, a little treat before they killed him. How is that allowed? It's just crazy, right? Hey, I know what we should do. Let's let this accused pedophile be alone with a teenage girl. My gosh. Tape says, yeah, that's garbage design. It's just the way that OBS does it, I guess. I could try to make something. I'm wondering if Snaz can do it. Insane, but why am I not surprised? Right? It's just kind of hard to imagine how it's like that. So I'm wondering maybe Snaz can do something about it. the SNAS stream tool. Let me go into some documentation here. Oh, it doesn't have documentation like that. Maybe it has documentation here. Oh, here we go. Wiki. See, there's a thing that'll change between lines for you. That would be nice, but not quite what we want, is it? Anyways. So definitely just kind of looking at this, and even though it did give me some okay signals, so here there was a signal as a top. It would have gone sideways for you a little bit, which would have been frustrating, but it did go down. Then when you get down here, you would have gotten a long, and then a short, and then maybe you take it off here. But then we get a really big one right here, which is kind of in a confusing spot. So there was a few okay signals. I don't know if they were really that, even though they turned out well, I don't know if they were really that super great opportunities just because of the whole situation. And now this thing, and now they are actually hitting 24. My tabs don't actually work the way that we want, huh? I'm just realizing that. What if do I need two of them? Okay, so they did get through it. Adrian says I like the news bar. Thank you. Why is this not... Does it just not read the spaces? Or it reads the tabs? Yeah. It doesn't read tabs, basically. So we'll just get rid of that and then do it like that. Oh no. It puts it onto a second line. Yep. Let's fix it. Filters. Nope, that's not the right way to do it. I think it's because of I have that wrap like that. I don't know why, for some reason. So if I set the height to be like 80, for instance, the vertical alignment, I have it center, but I guess it's really the right way to do it is like that. And not use those custom text extents. If I do use it, should be centered, and it doesn't. Unless you add wrap, which screws it up like that. Filters. And if I do that, then it does it twice, which is wrong too. Okay, they got above 24. Now they come back down through it. I didn't get a spike, so I'm going to just ignore it for now. Okay, so I think maybe one of the things to do for this would be to make it a little bigger. 48, perhaps. Ba-ba-da-da. And fix this one. Make this one 48. And maybe just add some spaces to it or something. Yeah. Yeah. Center. Okay. There you go. Now it's fixed. They're gonna. So they got through the 24. Now they're zippering around it. That's interesting. When the E-mini opened, they're buying the E-mini on the open. It really bothers me that I can't put them on multiple lines. See if I do this. Like if I just change this White House Economic Advisor Navarro, put it on a different line. Save. Now you only get you don't get the Navarro line. See? It's lame. Anyways, I think we need to come up with like a cool little like picture to go in the bottom right instead of it just saying news, you know? I think that would be cool. But I just kind of felt like, you know, with the taskbar down there at the bottom, you're gonna really need to see that. So why not put a little news feed on there? Yeah. I think it's fun. Well, they be buying this. If they give me a little bit of a move up and I see a spike, I could maybe sell this. I've actually been working on this all week, and like I was trying to get something that would like pull the headlines from Twitter using their streaming thing, using their streaming API, but their streaming API has a command that allows you to follow a list of people, but when I try using that command, it gives me unauthorized. And their documentation isn't very clear about what the deal is, but it appears that with the free API access, that I don't get access to that command. So that kind of like destroyed that whole idea. And I thought about, oh, you know, maybe I could just set something up to like show, you know, stock quotes or something like that. But honestly, now I could use their API. I could use the non-streaming API to grab like the last X tweets and update it every minute. We could do that. And I was trying to get it to do it in like a web page, but honestly, I could just write a little node program that writes it into a text file, and then you read the text file from OBS. I think that would give you better quality. I think that the text quality is better if you do it through OBS. Of course, me messing around with OBS probably makes for a super boring video. So thanks everybody for coming in. And, you know, I should remind you now, I think I should probably always remember to do it at 7:30 because that's when the most of the people are. But if you haven't liked the video, go ahead and give that like button a hit. That really helps things out. And subscribe to the channel. And YouTube has that little bell icon there. And for most channels, probably the bell icon, it probably doesn't matter. Uh, but for our channel, if you want to know when we're streaming, because we're primarily a stream, I would hit that bell icon because it makes it a lot easier to find the stream every morning. So you'll know exactly when we go up and all this and that. Zero Hedge says, with friends like these, there's no wonder bonds continue to rally. Just replace the word friends with economic data, and the explanation for the rally in bond markets makes sense. Contrary to what appears to be the consensus, economic data is weak and set to get weaker. Well, I don't know. The thing is that when was it? When we were taking that hit earlier in the year, wasn't it? Yeah. Well, it was really like in the December time period. But then again in May, the numbers got weaker. And so now the numbers are still kind of weak, but they're getting better than we thought that they would be. I'd say the E-mini is making a decent bull run. I'm not sure if they can keep this up or not. What was the numbers that Algo gave us? Oh, Algo, if buyers hold their pullback above 163.30. Oh, that's a really big, that's not the one that we're looking for. Okay. If sellers hold this bounce below 28.97, if they break above 28.97, well, that's way up there. Okay. But 28.97 is there. That's way up there. Is there anything up there? Not really. I don't know. Beyond Meat below 140. I tell you what, the we haven't really talked about that, but that Beyond Meat stock, they rally in that thing is insane. And I think in to me, I'm not terribly interested in that company because I don't really care for vegetarian meat. I think that's just silly. But I think that it kind of points something out kind of important that you can trade off of, right? And that is that there are a lot of liberal people out there with money. Probably more liberal people out there with money to invest than conservatives. Conservatives are more likely to want to try and invest it, but they probably don't have the money. And so it is very often the case that very liberal ideas get a lot of attention in the market. And so you could get a situation, well, we have had situations, where you get a little bit of a market panic or whatever. And because there's so many liberal people out there in the markets, they're like more likely to just like completely freak out and panic about their money because, they just don't like Donald Trump, and that affects their judgment, I think. Like it did in December would be a good example of this. And then, of course, Beyond Meat being another example. I could be wrong, but I feel like this vegetarian meat thing is a fad. I don't think anybody's gonna want to eat that in the long term. Gonna come out and you're gonna find out all of this nasty stuff about it. Easy, you watch. Well, it's just kind of very slowly churning up. You know, the other interesting thing was is that when it came down here, I said, "Well, it doesn't look like they're actually gonna bust it, and maybe I don't know if that one was a buy. That one was kind of a really weird spike, wasn't it?" I suppose I couldn't have bought it down here, but oh no wait, it was over in ZB, wasn't it? Well, now the interesting thing, yeah, so there it is in ZB and ZF. They kind of plowed through. Oh, okay, so that's interesting. So we got something going on in the spreads. Is what that is. So they're steepening, which is good. Move down though, they flattened. And what about the 2 and 10 spread? The move up, they flattened. The move down, they steepened. Okay. Fake eggs, fake bacon, fake ham with real pancakes. Great breakfast. What? That's what. What do you make fake eggs out of, right? I remember when I visited New York and I was a kid, and I didn't know anything about liberal culture, let's say. So we went to this restaurant and it was like this super award-winning restaurant. It just says it on the sign. You know, you go down that street and I forget what it is, and there's just tons of restaurants. And yeah, it was like all organic everything, and it was just pancakes, and it was supposed to be all like special sustainable I was like, this is the dumbest thing ever. Of course, I'm saying that like out loud. I was so dumb as a kid, but man, and it was expensive. And I think my recollection is that we looked at the menu and we left. That is what I think happened. I think the funniest thing that happened to me when I was in New York, the first time, you know, I've been there a couple of times since, but when I went there the first time when I was in high school, was I was in Times Square, and like at the end of Times Square, you know, there's like those kind of like those statues, and there's the statue, and there's a step up, and then there's a gate to prevent you from going up to the statue and touching it. And then on the gate, there was a little plaque with a message about what it was or where it came from or whatever the deal was. So I'm sitting there reading the plaque, and then I see something move out of the corner of my eye, and it turns out that there was a homeless man sleeping underneath of the plaque. And I had literally no clue that he was there. So I'm like literally standing over this homeless guy. And my dad just kind of like watched me. And then afterwards they said I almost stepped on a homeless man. I felt pretty dumb after that. We're gonna have another big iceberg here at 25 half of VWAP. Always something interesting happening at the VWAP when we cross it. E-Mini's coming back a little bit to try and get this order at 28.70, I think. Stocks extend bounce off lows. Bill O'Reilly is posting a picture of a corgi. That's kind of weird. Am I sitting in the this is not the right spot? It looks like my camera is like a little bit off today. That's better. Well, I was kind of hoping maybe we could get a push up and I could get a spot to go in. Oh, Lucas, there you are. How's it going? Have you been doing okay? Anyways, I was saying, now that it's so close to the consumer sentiment news, I don't want to touch it. So, man, my gut don't feel so good today. That's another thing. I'm kind of sitting here thinking like, okay, on Friday I often make bad decisions, and I kind of feel like I'm in a situation to have make bad decisions. But then some of my signals would have worked, right? Lucas says, today sucked. Action is horrible. I can't rely on any level whatsoever. Did you see how they bought those 6K at 20? Yeah, it was at 24. But it was kind of interesting, wasn't it? I kind of thought, what's with this order? It's followed it down. It's just kind of sitting there. The thing is that they tried to, when it was up at 30, here you can see it on the Vista chart. We go back a little bit. Okay. You see that on the Vista chart? It was at 30 and they bought up into it, and it looks like it pulled. But yeah, I would have to watch the DOM when that happened. Anyways, and then when it came back through, it shows up again. And then it moved down twice. And then it goes through it. Lucas says, like, try to lean on that offer and get screwed. Yeah. Well, on that one, you know, the thing is a big order like that, I don't know. I don't think you can really rely on it. I think that you're better off doing something like, putting a stop in order at 24.5. So if they clear it and clear 24.5, then buy or something like that. Just in that particular context. I mean, I totally get what you're trying to do though, because how many times earlier in the market when orders like that were much more common, did we come up to something like that and pull down or something like that, right? Oh, okay. So when he was up at the 29 or 30, I think it was 30, but the Vista chart's not very accurate on that. I'd have to mess around and look. But you say that he pulled, huh? But then this time, he was not messing around. Yeah, he wanted to sell that, which is kind of weird. But I don't know. I would say. Sorry, I just saw something funny on Twitter. I'll tell you in a second. But no, I would just say that on a Friday with an order that big, I would be a little weary about just taking a trade around it, Because I kind of feel like that around those specific kinds of things, your rate isn't necessarily as good when it shows up in isolation, I've been in markets where they have a tendency to go through those every time, and I've been in markets where they have a tendency to bounce off of them every time. No, the thing that I saw that was funny was Alphaville is saying Greenland upgraded to buy. Lucas says he might have been right, might have been at 29.5, 30. Yeah, I mean, the thing was that first one, when that first one happened, I wasn't watching, so. But another thing that's kind of interesting is since we came up through that order, you see all of these orders up at 30 to 28.5 that showed up? There's actually a normal amount of liquidity up there. You can see it would basically showed up right when that guy got filled. So, and you're getting like some big delta divergences today too. I'm wondering if maybe some of that is positioning ahead of the consumer sentiment news. Maybe. What do you think about that? I don't know. I just had a thought about my little thing is we should put the little period. What is it? Middle dot. It is U 00B7. Nah, I don't think that I'm going to do it like that. I think I'm just going to copy it in like this. What's Scott Adams retweeting? What an awesome day for Trump. First, he forces Democrats to embrace anti-Semites Omar and Taleb. Then he tells a fat protester at his rally to go home and start exercising. What? I did not see that. Did that happen? And obviously, he's trying to buy Greenland. If you don't think this is awesome, I don't know how to talk to you. Gosh. These people. We did so well on Tuesday, then I come on a day like today and try to play ranges and get run over 2 times, taking -3 each, giving back almost all profits. I really think there's something to that too. Like it's almost like I mean, I know that most of these are robots, but I kind of almost feel like it's a person, and because there was a strong move, that market maker loses money on a move like that. And then when things calm down, he says, okay, I'm going to have to be a little bit more aggressive to make it back. And so he like screws you over trying to get his money back. You know what I mean? I'm also noticing that my video, my exposure is just a little bit too much. There we go. It's probably too dark, but oh well. Yeah, Lucas says, yep. There's got to be something to it, because it really does feel like like last week for Tuesday for me, right? The same thing happened to me on that Tuesday. Was like all of a sudden it became super choppy, and if you had any kind of a stop smaller than like 8 ticks, you were gonna lose money. Because they were like going up 4 and then down 4, and it was just kind of like super choppy, and you kind of had to take your profits quickly because you were only getting like 2 out of them. Well, they did move a little bit higher and everything, but it seems like that they're pretty comfortable at 24.5, 25 area. But that's where I would say, like like one of the things is just keep in mind the day thing is really important, you know? Like the market is different on Fridays. It just is because uh, people don't like to hold um they don't like to hold positions over the weekend. You get a lot of traders go home early, but then you also have like these big pieces of news. So it's like you can try playing the news and the reverberations off of the news, but then after that, I've always had extremely difficult time on Fridays. Okay, so the E-mini has retraced back to their open now. There's a little bubble there. How much was it? 6012. Yawn. I hope I'm not making you guys tired. That whole thing about yawning is like herd behavior apply for over online. Live shot of Trump economic team preparing for a possible downturn. It shows a picture of the Three Stooges. Yeah, thing is I think that Donald Trump's economic team has done a really, really good job. It's just like the tariff thing, and even with the tariff thing, I think they understand that it's really bad in the short term. This is a fun idea. Libertarian Redhead says, "Ask me anything and I'll give you the worst advice I can think of for free." I seem to have a hard time identifying bad action after a couple of days making money and having good action. Totally. Well, and that's the other thing is that I think that they prey on our changed expectations, you know? Like, all of a sudden you'll go into a market where you're making 8 to 16 ticks, and then the next day they'll be chopping away at like 2 ticks at a time from you. Um, that's why whenever I get a good day, the next day, if there isn't some sort of like follow through sort of a thing, like maybe the overnight action shows some significant pattern that gives you a high probability of it moving further that day, for instance, or maybe there's more news off of that particular thing, kind of like we had last week. But if you don't get that, then that the day after, I would always be super suspicious. I mean, that's why I haven't taken any trades today yet on a Friday. There, it's giving me the short at 26, but we're like 1 second away. Okay, here we go. No clear jump off of the news yet. A little bit of buying. Okay, the sentiment was 92 versus a 97 expected. What about inflation expectations? Probably going to be a lot lower. Come on. Give me the number. What's the number? 2.7. So inflation expectations are actually a tenth higher than last month. Probably doesn't mean anything. Well, I think that this was a short, but I don't know if my risk reward here is good enough to take it. Regression towards the mean is a bitch. Right. Well, unless that's your trading strategy. But that's where it's like I feel like that, having the ability to tell the difference between good action and bad action, it's not enough because they're really good at making it seem like it's good action. You know what I mean? And then the monkey inside you takes over. The main takeaway for consumers from the first cut in interest rates in a decade was to increase apprehensions about a um, possible recession. Current conditions index fell to its lowest levels since 2016. Let's add that into our little squawk. It's funny, zero hedge. You're sitting there feeling like you're wasting time and you want to play. Yeah. Well, and this is this is another interesting subject, right? Because I feel like markets change a lot and that you can't just have like one way of trading, Like you need to be able to trade continuations and reversals. You need to be able to trade range bound markets and trending markets. It's not giving me a buy either. Anyways, and so, you need to be able to be flexible. And so this whole thing about like I have this one really, really super specific setup. I think that chances are if you have something like that works, that it's not going to work for very long. But at the same time, I've developed something that I think is still very discretionary, but it still gives me pretty specific spots to look at. That's been working very well for me this month, at least. And the thing that I've noticed with that is that it's really solved a lot of the, not wanting, having difficulty knowing when I should get in or not, because I'll get a signal and it just doesn't look good, and then I'll see that I get bad action off of it. So this is it kind of helps, but I still think that you need to be really flexible. So I don't know. Kind of conflicting views on that one now, huh? Yeah, their expectations are down a lot. And Paul Krugman is all in on there's going to be a recession. uh, Man, I don't know what it's going to do. I tell you what, I felt very frustrated yesterday going out on the internet and reading what people were saying, and talking to people. I was very, very frustrated because it's like, my thing is bonds, and all of a sudden, everybody and their dog is talking about the yield curve, and you're the person that knows something about it, and you try and say something about it, and it's like nobody believes you or something, you know. So like one of the things that I can't say if we're going to be in a recession or not. I don't think that my edge, that I can say that I have a reliable edge on that sort of a thing. I will say that just the fact that everybody seems to think that there's going to be a recession, I don't know if we've ever seen something like that in the modern internet age, where it's like a recession coming is such a big deal on the internet. And that makes me think that it's not going to happen, because really, how can you have a recession if everybody knows it's going to happen? It just doesn't work that way. If everybody knew that it was going to happen, then everybody would sell it, and and the market would already be down, and then you run into this thing where it's like, oh, well, it's not as bad as we expected it, and it goes right back up anyways. Like, that's what's been happening the past 10 years, right? Is something happens that could cause a recession, and the market sell down on that, and then we get through the crisis, and so it just ends up being a pullback. It's only when you, like, it really comes out and it's unexpected and everything that it seems to be a real problem. So I think that everybody getting all excited about it makes it less likely to happen. But I can't say that that's a reliable way of predicting if it is going to happen or not. Just kind of like my gut feeling about it, right? But like the thing that I was saying to people yesterday. Oh, hold on. Had something in the 5-year here. Okay. It's unclear as well, but it was in all three of them. We might move lower, but I can't really read what that was intended to be. It was as we were ticking up. I guess it should be a short. Let's just watch. Okay, anyways. So the thing that I was saying to people the other day was, well, I don't know if it's going to be a recession or not, but I do know that there are a lot of unique circumstances about the current economic conditions and the current yield curve that might make that yield curve inversion signal a less reliable signal. It's true. And you know where I got that from? Janet Yellen. So everybody's like, no, you don't know what you're talking about. All the economists say that we're going to have a recession now. And I'm like, guys, you don't understand what you're talking about. Like, and an economist has an economic projection. Those things update every day. As we go into new information, and we're having new information. I'd say that this consumer sentiment number being bad, it doesn't seem like it was terrible. At least the market's not reacting to it yet. I would say that consumer sentiment number being down from last month is a very bad sign. But how can you say all this stuff without really knowing the data that's relevant to it yet? And there's this whole thing with the yield curve, which is like, is it a signal or does it actually cause recessions? If it's a signal, because people are, expecting a recession, and that's why it inverts, then you have to sit down and say, okay, but is it actually a reliable prediction at this point? Because, before the curve would have to move quite a bit to invert. And this time, barely had to move at all to invert. So, how can we really say no that it's telling us the same thing that it normally does? Because the yields are so low anyways. It's super, and then like nobody outside of the trading world seems to understand this or care. They just go, oh no, there's a recession, everybody panic. And then the other thing, if I can, is that it's like, okay, in order for this signal, if we say that it's a reliable indicator or a signal prediction, and that it's still a reliable signal prediction or whatever, then the next thing is, the statistics is it has to be inverted for a while. It has to be inverted for at least a quarter. And it's been inverted for like 2 days and you're already panicking. But I don't think that the yield curve alone says like we're definitely going to a recession. Now, this consumer sentiment number, coupled with the fact that, at least for the time being, a deal with China seems very, very out of sight, maybe that changes quickly, but right now it seems like it's just looks out of reach. That certainly could lead to a recession. You'd have to kind of go in and do the math then at that point to see how far it goes. But then, like 2 quarters of negative growth might not be the end of the world too. That's the other thing. So I just feel like the world is just kind of losing their shit over nothing. I don't want to say nothing, but you don't know what's going to happen. Well, they did kind of give us an opportunity to go short at 26 there. The E-mini so far seems to just be shrugging off these consumer sentiment numbers. Zero Hedge is making it sound incredibly negative. Consumer confidence crashes as rate cut triggered apprehensions about a recession. Well, consumer confidence is still 90% is still like all-time highs. Like what we were getting before was ridiculous. Now it's still pretty high, but it was a big drop. But man, see, these are the sorts of things I see that just drive me crazy. Any peace agreement which denies the U.S. robust counterterrorism capability in Afghanistan is not a peace deal. Instead, it is paving the way for another attack on the American homeland and attacks against American interests around the world, says Lindsey Graham. You guys are well better than what's going on here in Argentina. Oh, isn't Argentina where the liberals had a pretty good showing in the election and the stock market dropped like 50%? That story, I don't know a whole lot about it, but just that headline alone kind of sounded pretty crazy to me. Like they were gonna go full on, yeah. Or do I have people mixed up? The Liberal Party here is kind of populist. Yeah. I was going to say, maybe there are people concerned that they're going to go full Venezuela, So as today, I'm pulling my savings from the bank since there's a chance of not getting them at all. Wow, really? Really? That's interesting. I have to say, I've never been a fan of, we say, populism, I guess. Just because of this sort of a thing, it's like people don't know what they don't know, and the public, the general public, does have some opinions on things that are going to be wrong because they're not in a situation to see the whole picture, and they just when it turns into we're angry about this and we want to change this sort of a thing, and when I look at just populist movements here in the United States, both liberal and conservative, they always seem to be wading into crazy territory and doing things that are damaging. So I get a little encoding spike there again. I can't even imagine. That also reminds me that the protesters in Hong Kong are pulling their money out of the banks. That's a really interesting story. People were saying it seems like the market isn't reacting to it. But people were saying like, oh yeah, well the bank will just close its doors, and then they'll say, well yeah, but then they just come back another day. But then you could put a limit on how much you can pull out. That might be. Anyways, there's crazy stuff going on like that all over the place. People just want free stuff, and populists know how to please the crowd. If the economy goes to the sink, they will blame capitalism or imperialism or just people with money. Yeah, well, that's just That's just straight communism, right? But like, my take on it is that like, liberal populism basically becomes communism, doesn't it? You can put your savings into your trading account. Nope, I better keep that. Yeah, I would too. But where you take it to? And then the other question is, have you just, well, I guess when we should be, I don't know if that means that they're like for sure going to win or what's going to happen after that. But then the other question is like, have you thought about contingency plans to leave the country if you need to? Bank safe. Okay, so we moved back up here. I'm not getting any kind of. It's been pretty quiet. It's really close to my time too. Maybe we just don't take one today. I really should have taken the shorts when I came in. This right here. Should have taken that one. That would have been a great trade, right? That might have messed me up because then I might have kept trying to take them. I have a Spanish passport. Okay, cool. Good. We knew you were safe. I don't have to worry about it now. This is kind of one of the weird things is I get like, so like wrong. He's in China. I hear crazy things happening in China and I'm like, we have to be concerned for wrong now. Ooh, look at that. 2 takes down very quick. Ooh, they're really going for it now. Yeah, I was like, I think I could sell that, but man. Okay. Yeah, you can sell that. What is this? Something's coming out. Moynihan people are overreading negative Fed comments. It must be something else. Must be something else because the E-mini seems super happy about it. I should have clicked a lot earlier than I did. Man. it's really going now. Coming back too fast. That big order at 20.5 gets me out. That sucks. Well, it's better than nothing. Man. That can't be the news. It's probably the Seth is awesome breaking news. Well, okay. So the stock market really liked it, and then they moved lower. Nope, I don't like that spot. Dang it. Dang it. Come on. Hmm. Nobody's hitting it at 21. Okay. What happened? I was 17 ticks positive in oil, and then I got stopped out at break even. Whatever is happening right now, and something is definitely happening right now. The only thing that I saw on Twitter was a tweet from Zero Hedge that people are overreading negative Fed comments. I don't think that was it. So whatever happened, it is probably has not hit Twitter yet. Okay. That one's been working pretty awesome. Oh, did I only lose one on that? ES spiking up, yeah. I mean, ES really spiked up, didn't they? Okay, what's going on? Germany, ready for deficit spending if recession hits, says Spiegel. Okay. Let's add that into our little news here. Is that really what's moving us though? That piece of news I would think would move treasuries up. I don't know if that's it. That is certainly a headline that should move markets for sure though. Thank you for that. Trade Travel Live. That's a new name. Have you been lurking around? Are you one of those lurkers that we love but never speaks to us? And we're just kind of a little you know, wish that we got to know you better. A little bit higher. Trade Travel Live says maybe. Well, thank you for watching. I know that there are a lot of people that watch almost every day and don't necessarily comment ever, which is really cool. But I think part of the thing that makes this so much fun is that I get to meet and talk to other traders, you know? So we love it when you guys, even if you just come in and say hi, you know? Okay. The E-mini seems to be coming back. I don't think anybody knows what just happened. Oh, Futures Trader 71 pointing out that the CME posted new Treasury spread ratios. You know, I was a little bit too hesitant on that move because normally I would be ready to just, oh, let's click it. But it kind of went down and I was like, okay, something's happening. Okay. And then when it really started to go look for the lows, then I said, oh, okay, maybe we can, let's try something. German Finance Minister, EU 27 stand united and is ready for all Brexit scenarios. Why did the E-mini like that? This is the only news we're seeing. Something else definitely happened. Germany ready to ditch balanced budget in case of recession, says First Squawk, is the way that they're taking it. Oh, it's giving me one right here. $22.5 might not be the right spot. It's going to sit here and tinker for a bit. Saw some people in Hong Kong carrying USA flags during the protest. Yeah, I saw that as well. I don't know. I mean, I appreciate that they do that, but I probably wouldn't recommend to them to do that because you don't want China to think that the United States is behind it all, you know? Well, they ate into 22, but it didn't go offer. It's quite a bit buying there at 22, in fact. So this will be a pretty good test case here because we had an overextension long and now somebody's still trying to get in at 22. Okay, a few hitting into 23. Five-year just kind of zigzagging around, kind of random. One world government under Trump history. We can annex Hong Kong and then Greenland. And then I say if we're able to get Greenland, I think that our next target is we should buy Australia. What do you think? I think Australia is a great place. I think that the United States and Australia And it would really cement the United States' dominance over the Pacific. It would help us fight China, you know? I think that should be the next move after Greenland. It's Australia or New Zealand. Actually, you know what? Screw New Zealand. They're not. I don't like them right now. New Zealand. I'll only take New Zealand if we can if they have a different prime minister. New Zealand seems like a cool place, but some of the people in office over there seem like nut jobs to me. The way that that lady acted in the after that shooting was a little disconcerting to me. Second attempt by Spiegel to spark deficit spending in Germany. It did the same on August 8th. The news was then quickly denied by the government. They're right. That's Zero Hedge pointing that out. Okay, so Trading Floor Audio is putting the story as Der Spiegel reporting German Chancellor Merkel could be getting ready to turn on the spending taps. So maybe it is that piece of news, because that would mean more government spending in Germany. Germany is in a recession. So some deficit spending over there in Germany would be a very positive thing. I mean, that's one of the bigger concerns in the global market right now is the ailing German economy. And so maybe the equities jumped up because of that and treasuries moved down in response. But in the longer run, I don't know if that's really a reason to sell treasuries. Because that means that German bonds aren't going to, our yields are going to go up, and that's going to, just exacerbate this arbitrage thing that we got going on with the 10-year. That's depressing the yield in the 10-year. Wilmer Kelvin. But the Der Spiegel published their article like 25 minutes ago. They shouldn't have reacted that late. So Kevin Wimmer thinks, and thank you for your comment, Kevin. He thinks that it might not be it. The thing though is that how long has it been now? It's been almost 20 minutes. And I still don't see what the news was on Twitter. So I'd say that it probably has to be that, but there's no other candidates is the problem. Okay, good downtick. Kind of thought maybe there was a possibility they were going to go for the lows, but I just see this as one spot where they're kind of stopping, and so I'm thinking 4 is good. It's starting to ziggy around like that, so that gives me like one potential stopping point. Let's see what they do. Okay, so Kevin says it got published at 1610. 1620, the spike came. What was going on at 10? Well, there was a little bit of a move down at 10, and then we moved back out, and then we moved down. Well, it's possible. I mean, the thing is that because it's German news, it probably took a lot longer to disseminate through the market. I mean, when we had the news on the 8th, was it the 8th? When they were saying that the Germans might spend, and then the Germans came out and denied it. Both of those things came out kind of delayed too. Well, I guess we did hit the low of the day. I could have held it, but I think I did the right thing by taking it off there just because of the way that it was, it was a potential profit spot, and given the way things are going kind of crazy, it was probably better to just be more on the cautious side. But shouldn't at least the German bonds or index futures react to it? I would think that they would for sure, yeah. Have they not moved? I can't see the Germans. I can't see European stuff. I don't have data. I don't have Eurex data. Maybe I should start paying for it. This is like the second time this month I think that that's come up. Third time this month because it came up when we're talking about Germany, and came up earlier in the month when somebody was just asking about it. Look, they're going. Well, if treasuries are going to move down like that, maybe you want to buy the E-mini, huh? Kevin says that they didn't move. This is really weird. I mean, the thing that I find appealing about what you're saying, Kevin, is that the correlations between instruments don't 100% make sense to me. I don't think that this piece of news justifies treasuries moving as hard as they are. And in fact, if that is true, I think in the long run, it actually kind of increases demand in US treasuries, because the German yields are going to move up because of deficit spending. And then people are going to want to, oh no, actually take that back, right? If the yields move up, that might mean less people want to buy US treasuries. Maybe that's okay, maybe that does make sense. I think I had it backwards. Guess it depends on which way the bund moves, really. But if that means that the yield in the bund gets a little bit higher, then maybe the arbitrage between the US and the bund ends up not being as much. Well, man, that really moved. I could have taken a lot off of that. It's giving me a reversal now, though. He says you can go to news guidance and see the German markets. Now that it's been 10 minutes, I could probably see it on TradingView too, but The E-mini is not going up, and there's an iceberg here at 16. I really don't want to trade against the momentum in a spot like this, but I think you buy 16. Okay, there was a little jump in the E-mini. Well, Zero Hedge is blaming it on the Der Spiegel report, saying German stocks spike on another Spiegel report, Germany ready to run budget deficit. So, with that move down, we are no longer inverted, are we? I would have to look at the yields, but just looking at how much the spread moved, we're probably no longer inverted. Okay, so they pushed through 16 quite a bit, but here's now maybe where you could buy it, huh? What's the trade record for the day? You mean like the most that I've made in a day? Or how I've done today? I'm sitting at 125 right now. That's kind of funny how that worked, but I ended up pulling 2 off of it initially. And then were those all right? Took it at 21.5. Yep. And then I took the profit. Wow, how did I catch that? Oh, I don't know how I did that, but then I pulled a tick out of that a ton of times. You know what, guys? I am doing things. I don't know how I'm doing them. That is really weird. How did I know that it was going to do that so many times and make it? But I saw it and I took it 3 times. And then I caught a 4 ticker. That one could have been awesome though, right? That was 22.5. 22.5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I took it off. 5, 6, 7. Maybe I would have taken it off at 8. Probably would have taken it off at 8. But then it went even more. Could have gotten 16 on that. That would have been one of the best trades I ever taken if I had held that. Well, I can't brag about having taken the trade, but I can brag that that was one of the best signals I've ever gotten, huh? Crazy. Now this one is 16. Might still be valid. They've gone through it for it's normal for a signal to be pierced by 2 to 3 ticks. E-mini is still buying. There's the animals. Clicking again like they're going to go lower. Well, if it goes lower, I would say that particular signal that we didn't take was probably still good for a reversal, but the pressure down is so much that you can't actually make any profit out of it. Let the bird go. He's not. You make it sound email address. Email address. I'm just gonna say it like that. You make it sound like I'm torturing my bird, but that is a happy bird that you are hearing right now. That is like, hello, good morning. I'm super happy that you are here. Can you give me some food now, please? We would really appreciate that. I'd be a little bit suspicious of this continued move down because we got a signal and it canceled it out, and they have only gone like one more tick further. You might get a more significant pullback, and given the rush that we've had, and it just feels like everybody's a little bit off balance. If this comes back on us, it could do so violently. I got about 15 minutes, so we'll watch another 15 minutes of this. I don't think I'm going to take another trade, though. I think 8 ticks on a Friday is just amazing. I am so I, I can't believe that I did this well today. I'm still looking at those trades and going like, how did I do that? But well, I guess part of it was that move down was just super crazy and there was a lot of movement, so probably it was a lot easier to pull money out of that anyways. I hope you guys made some money off of that one because it looked like a good move. And then we got a bunch of people in now. I'll show you again. I took one and I got 2 points off of it. Here was another one. This one really sucked because I clicked it and I was like, oh nope, 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 this is the wrong spot. It let me out of it, but then by that point I could see where the spots were and I just saw, oh, I could take one. You get a short, a short, a short, short. And then, it kind of broke out a little bit higher. I don't know why I didn't take another one and end up having that going off on me, but whatever. And then the signal right here, 20 ticks shorter. That's crazy. If I had held that for 20 ticks, man, can you imagine? I would be like, ooh, that would be too much. That would give me an ego. I think that having today is maybe giving me a little bit of an ego. I'm still sitting here thinking, like, how did I do that? I knew some things that I just cannot consciously express nor explain after the fact. And I don't think I really said anything at the time about why I was doing it either, did I? That's super weird. Hmm. Well, I think maybe one thing we should look at is, did we see the euro move? We did. Started from here, and the euro was moving down. Well, the euro's been moving down all morning. No, that's the British pound. Here's the euro. Yes, that makes more sense. Yes. When this started falling apart, there was a strong move up in the euro. All right. Well, I don't know if it makes complete sense. And I still kind of understand Kevin's skepticism, but it does look to me like the market has settled on that this was a move from the European markets on the news that Germany is maybe willing now to run a budget deficit in order to boost up its economy. And because of that, that's good for all markets because Germany has been one of the bigger problems in the world. They're like practically going into recession. And so that's good for stocks. And then, of course, they sell treasuries in response to that. But then the other thing is that if the EU is going to do more deficit spending, well, you could see the rates continue to be low, but it could move them up a little bit because as a government, as a government spends, that puts more bonds out there and it pushes, the treasuries down, and therefore the yields go up. So if the European treasuries are yielding a little bit more now, then the arbitrage between the US and European treasuries, because the US has been yielding so much better than the European, there'd be a less incentive for them to do that. And that means that this, what do we want to say, supply demand dynamic in the US treasuries that's been pushing us up so strongly is about to come out. And so a sell in the treasuries makes complete sense. It didn't make sense to me at first, but now having thought it through a little bit, I think it does. I think the correlations are correct. And if the story is true, and we should be careful because they could come out and, oh, there you go. There you finally get the reversal. And look, it gave us another signal when it did it. You might only get 5 out of it, but where were we saying we were getting one? I thought I had one here at 16. Oh, it was this one right here. Okay, so we had one at 16, and then it went a little bit lower, and I said, it might be careful. That might be the end of it. Let's see. So there's still the possibility that the report is wrong, because that's not the first time that they've reported something like that. This is interesting. The thing that's funny about this, or that may end up being funny about this, is that the E-mini was selling basically because of the yield curve, right? Basically, it was the yield curve. And that's reversing. So does that mean that they're going to just completely retrace this entire down move that we've had in the equities now? Well, we are not above Algo Lover's target, are we? He had 28.97, I think it was. We're about 10 points away from that. I would say that if we do get to 28.97, we're extremely likely to keep going. You get a good 6-tick reversal, but it's giving us an out signal now at 16.5. So you could maybe sell it here. I'm really tempted to take it, but we're past my time. I don't like. Every time that I say, oh, it's okay, we can just take one, and it's after 8:30, I usually screw it up. For you guys that are going to continue trading, something that I would probably be looking at is that the London close is in 30 minutes, and you've got to wonder what kind of position closing might happen now because of all that noise. That's really going to I don't know. And this story about Taleb making a deal with Israel to still be able to go into their country, and then when they said okay, she decided to not go in on the deal, is super weird. Optics on, if that becomes a big story, the optics on it are not going to be very good for her. You did get a 2 ticks down. I think you would have gotten filled at 15.5. The signal was at 16.5. I'm wondering if we zoom out here, what did we get? Nothing incredibly unusual when it dropped. It really was. I think that kind of seems to me that the other treasury traders were just as clueless about what was going on as we were, because you didn't really see a lot of activity change. Um, they were just moving with the currency, it seems, and then the news disseminated out to the rest of us, and then you started to get a lot of wild action. LL Rain admits the era of deglobalization is here. Doesn't need to be an era of deglobalization, just an era of countries reasserting their rights and, you know, divesting themselves from communists. That's all. We can still be a global world. Tick up there. Down. This chair's making a lot of noise today. I'm sorry. Got about 2 minutes. I don't think I'm going to be able to see the conclusion of this. The E-mini was moving higher. I really should have bought it. Really should have bought it at like 80 or whatever. Where was it? It was at 97. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. Oh well. It's okay. Would have been choppy. I might have actually have gotten stopped out on it, depending on the time that I thought that I was taking it at. Well, let's generate some charts here. Oops, wrong window. Well, tell you what, if you guys haven't already liked the video, give us a like. That'll really help. It's such a great week. I don't think, how much, if we just do this week, what does it say? I'll pull this over here so you can see. Let's make that small. Okay. So if we do the whole week. Oh, and let's only do the treasuries. All right, there we go. That gets rid of all those long strings of red. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4 full stops. Well, for a whole week, that is not too shabby. I would like to get rid of those. I mean, that's another $200, right? But 718 in a week is really good. I guess on some of these I took multiple fills, didn't I? So that was kind of, I mean, I'm allowed to do that with as much as I've made this week, but still a little, I'm a little concerned about, like, especially, where was it? There was this one. I think it was earlier. I think it was this one right here. Yeah, it was this one right here. I kind of felt like maybe I was being a little revenge tradey there. You know what I mean? So I might be... Yeah. I might need to be a little careful about that. I think Like, my thinking right now is that our strategy is pretty darn good, at least in this market. But we still need to look at some of this psychological stuff. Also, did Bitcoins move? Bitcoins did not really move. Not really. Here's the 16th. I should look at to it. Can I roll over yet? Not yet. Okay. Ding ding ding. Trade Travel Life says have a good weekend. Move might be done for today. You might be right. I really think that probably I think you're probably going to get a lot of reverberations. This move might even retrace significantly. I think you're right. I think that the real trade is past, and we caught a little bit of it. So I hope you did well, and thanks for saying hi, Trade Travel Live. Um, just a reminder to everybody: give the video a like. That really helps the community out because that attracts more people, and we can kind of grow the channel. If we can grow the channel, that means that we can create more stuff. More videos, maybe some website things to assist the community, because that's the main thing. I want my money to be made off of the trading, but I try and take what we do make off of it and put it back into the stream. So you give the like and comments and everything all really, really help. And if you're new, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell icon when you subscribe so that you know when we're live. You can join us every morning. We're here every morning, and we have fun, and it's the same group of people, and I can't tell you. And I guess the only other thing is I just want to give everybody an extra thanks. Got Patreons. Super big thanks to the Patreons. I don't think most of them watch the stream because they're more cryptocurrency people, but big thanks to everybody that contributes to the Patreon. Big thanks to all you guys that come in here every day and say hi to me. I really am doing much better than I would have expected. And I'm doing a lot of really amazing trades, and I'm not 100% sure how I'm doing it. And it's kind of weird. But most of all, I feel like, and maybe this is a temporary thing. There's always good times and bad times in the markets, and we're going through a good time. But we were going through a good time, and we've been able to take advantage of it. And I would not have been able to do it without all of you guys. So thank you very, very much. And so with that, I'm going to shut it down. I will see you guys next week. In the meantime, stay profitable, friends.